depending upon your perspective, you may think something's rude when another person's intention wasn't it actually being rude. Now, there are people out there that just straight like to be rude. I don't understand why. And a little kindness would go a long way, especially in these days. Or these days, these days. Today on Money Article Monday, I am going to discuss an article called Rude Money Habits You Need to Break Now. Now let's see if these habits are rude or just depending upon how they're asked is how they're perceived as being rude. If you are new to my channel, on Money Article Monday, we find a blog or an article that relates to money and we chat about it. I also do videos on saving money and living a simple life, so if any of that interests you, make sure you click that subscribe button. Today's article comes from MSN.com, and it actually is by Gabrielle Oya, who we have done another Money Article Monday on. So this article, again, is called Rude Money Habits You Need to Stop Now. And she starts off with, money can be a touchy subject, so you have to approach it with others with some extra thought and consideration. And although everyone has different levels of comfort, there are some behaviors that are outright rude no matter who you are dealing with. Now, rudeness, I think it depends on your perception. And also, if you go into the conversation, first of all, maybe not liking the person, or second of all, just taking everything the wrong way. A lot of times people just take things the wrong way, and the person's intention wasn't to be rude. Now, there are the people out there that are just rude. We understand that. But the first one that she talks about is asking how much someone paid for something that you have no intention to buy. It's not polite to just ask prices of things, said Jennifer Porter, an etiquette expert in manners teacher in Seattle. Some people love sharing prices, but unless it is offered, that is private information. Well, no. Okay, so my thoughts on this is some people, unless they share it, it's private information. But some people who share the cost of something are being snotty too. So, yeah, oh, I like your purse. And the person goes, yeah, it was $350. I got it on sale. It was originally $400. I paid $350 for it. That person can be rude too. And I don't necessarily think that the person asking how much it was, even though they may not have an intention of buying it, is rude, because they may just be intrigued by how much it costs and just not know what's wrong with learning. Now, if they ask it in a way to go, maybe say, how much did that cost? Okay, they're being rude, right? I think it depends on the tone of voice and how you say it, but I don't necessarily believe that it's always rude to ask the price of something, okay? She says the exception to this rule is asking about pricing for something that you are interested in purchasing. It can be appropriate to open a conversation. Yeah, of course, but I also think it's just good to know what kind of the costs of things are. It doesn't mean you want to buy it right now, but what if you want to think about buying it later? I think it just depends on how you frame it, basically. The second rude money habit is asking to borrow money from friends. Yeah. Porter said that asking a friend to lend you money is an etiquette no-no. Yeah, you may borrow money from a family member under certain circumstances, but if you do, have a written plan and a timeline to pay it back, and offer to pay a small interest rate or whatever the lender stipulates. Gosh. Yeah, this gets into a touchy subject. So what if they, well, I mean, what I have found is most people who actually need the money don't actually ask for it. What do you guys think? The people who don't, like, what they plan to do with the money is not a need, are the ones that typically would ask for it. But I am not of the, if I see that somebody needs money without them asking, that might be a situation, but it's not borrowing. I think borrowing, how about gifting? That way that person doesn't feel an obligation and it's not awkward between the two. If you're in a situation where you can gift and somebody needs then do so if you choose. But beware of the person, what they're planning on using the money for. I mean, this could open up a whole other can of worms. Number 3 is discussing salary. I have my own opinions on this, but let's read what she has to say first. It's rude. It's rude. What is that? Oh, was it Full House? What did the little Michelle used to say? So rude? Or was that the middle child? I don't remember. Who? Tell me down below. I just remember somebody saying rude or something like that. It's rude to ask how much money someone else's. Can I speak today? I'm not real sure. It's rude to ask how much money someone else makes. And it's also rude to share how much money you make unless there is a good reason to do so. For example, someone is looking for a job in your field and wants to know the typical salary range. This can make people feel uncomfortable, Porter said. There's a very big stigma against talking about salaries and things in general with anybody. As far as talking about, I guess it could be. You don't want to make the other person feel bad for not making as much as you do. And you don't want the other person to feel bad for you if you don't make a lot of money. So, I mean, I guess that one, I could get on board with that being slightly rude in society, or maybe. The next one is not tipping at a restaurant. Hold up. If the waitress, this just happened to me. It happened to me. We went to a pizza place, and a sit-down pizza place, and they took our order. The girl, she was young, probably 19, maybe 20, and she took our order and never came back to the table. After somebody else delivered the food, never came back to the table. And I think we spent, it was about $35 for what my husband and my daughter got. Never came back to the table. Passed by us multiple times. Now, we weren't rude. I'm very nice when I go out, and I'm very nice to anybody who's in customer service because I know the other side of it. Never stopped. Never. I was actually the one who was able to watch her from where I was sitting. My husband has his back towards her, and she would go to other tables and never once glanced. Servers will glance to see if maybe they catch your eye, or you're trying to catch their eye, or they'll check to see if maybe your plates are empty or if your glass needs filled. Never. And our food was fine. I ran out of tea very quickly. I guess it was thirsty. And I had no tea for 90% of the time we were there. So did I tip her well? Absolutely not. And I don't do that. I tip very well. If you are okay, you're going to get 20% from me. If you're great, you're going to get more than 20% from me. But in this situation, which was the first time in years that I have had such terrible experience with a server, that I tipped, I think it was a few dollars on it, just to make a point. Hey, if you don't like your job, there are a ton of places hiring right now. I mean, a lot of people are hiring. Now, I went off on a tangent. Sorry I didn't warn you about that, but let's see what the article has to say for this. It says, Arden Cleese, founder and president of Cleese Etiquette, said that not tipping appropriately at restaurants is even ruder than usual in our current economic climate, with many restaurant employees out of work for long stretches of time over the past year. Tips should be at least 18% of the bill, she said. If you are not unhappy with the service, you may leave a lower tip, but if you should not tip altogether. But you should not skip tipping altogether. Keep in mind, the waiter isn't always at fault. In my situation, she was. She never looked. I watched her the whole time that she came by. It could be the kitchen that was backed up, or maybe it made a mistake that the waiter had no control over. That is obvious. That is easy to figure out. And I could have been okay if she were super busy too, but she was not. She wasn't taking on tons of tables. She says no less than 15% of the bill, perhaps with a note about why the tip is small. No, I didn't leave a tip. Should I have, like, drawn an unhappy face on it? Maybe. The next one is telling someone they spend too much money on X. Yes, that is rude. Now, if you come to my channel and you're looking for frugal or money advice, and I say something is, that's a waste of money, I think that's a different situation, my personal opinion. I think what this is referring to is somebody, let's say somebody has a brand new car and you go up to them and they go, "Oh, I bet those payments are expensive." First of all, you don't know if that car is paid for. Second of all, you don't know what that person can or cannot afford, or if they choose to outsource an activity such as lawn care or I don't know, whatever, something else that makes their life easier, and they have the financial means to do so, and you make a snotty comment, a crappy, like the face with the eyes, this one's a little squinty and this one's like, yeah, that is rude. I cannot stand that. But let's see what she has to say. How people spend their money is not yours to judge. So keep your comments to yourself. If you think your friends spend too much money on shoes or your neighbor spends too much money on toys, it may be your neighbor has a lot of recreational items, but that's not any of your business. Everyone has spending habits. Some of people spend their money on toys or vacations. Some are penny pitchers. There's no wrong or right way. You do what is best for you. I always say this in my videos. If I give you 10 pieces of advice and 2 of them resonate with you, take those 2. Throw the 8 others in the trash can. Take what works for you and move on. My point is, everybody has different priorities in life. So it's not your business to tell somebody that spending their money here and not spending their money here is a better or worse thing. It's certainly your choice. Now, if somebody asks for your advice, that is a different situation. Then they are openly asking for your opinion on something. Do you think refinancing and having a mortgage of $2,000 is too expensive? $2,000 a month? Well, for me, it would be, what are your expenses? It would depend on more information. Somebody else who may not be knowledgeable might go, yeah, that's too much money. Just keep it at 30 years. I mean, just keep paying your mortgage for 30 years. It depends on the circumstance. But absolutely, I agreed, this is one thing that can definitely be rude. The next one is not paying for a meal you invited someone to. I think this one's a little old-fashioned. Personally, I don't know that it's rude. I think if you invite somebody out in a certain way and say maybe, hey, go hang out and go to lunch, I don't know that you have to pay for that person's lunch. You just would split it. That person can say yes or no. And I think most people's expectations would be, if Susan asked me to go to lunch, my expectation would be, I'm paying for my lunch. Not that I'm paying for Susan's lunch, certainly, but not that Susan would be paying for my lunch. She says in here, if you offer to take a friend out to dinner or lunch, you should pick up the tab. Whoever invites the other one is who pays the bill, unless you agree to split it in advance. Again, I think this is a very old-fashioned tip. What do you guys think? The next one is related. Ordering a more expensive meal when you know you'll be splitting the bill. And again, this article is not that old. I think it was a few weeks ago. It is very easy these days for the restaurant, the server, to break apart your meal on the little button that prints out the receipt. I mean, she can easily do that. Now, you may be splitting an appetizer, and that might be something that you say, hey, you want to split an appetizer? That's kind of how you agree to it. When I am out with other people, and I order an appetizer, let's say I'm out with a group of friends and I order an appetizer, I will take that appetizer on because I ordered it. I'm probably going to be eating the majority of it anyway, and if somebody else wants some, absolutely, that's what it's there for. But I will take that on, and I would kind of expect the other two. But she says, when you've already agreed to split the bill, you should keep your ordering in line with your companions. Order what you want. Ordering the most expensive item on the menu or ordering an alcoholic beverage when your dining companion doesn't drink and then asking them to split the bill is rude. Yeah, if you ask them to split the bill down the middle, absolutely, that's rude. But I don't know, why would you do that? It is also rude when you are invited to join friends for a restaurant meal and you know they will pay the bill, and you proceed to order the most expensive item or alcoholic beverages that they don't share with you. Yeah, I think if that is true, if you are going out and you know somebody's purchasing or buying your meal, I think people are more conscious of that, of not maybe picking the most expensive thing on the menu or ordering a bunch of drinks, unless that person orders drinks, then you kind of take their lead that way. I agree there. The next one is not contributing fairly to a potluck. I can agree to this. Let's see what she says. If you're invited to a potluck, bringing just enough to cover yourself or one cheap item is considered rude. Yeah, I don't know. Would this be, let's say you were going to a party and there were, I guess 20 people there, and you were bringing potato salad and you went to the grocery store and you bought the little bitty one and you showed up, but yet everything you ate was like a pile this big. Yeah, that would be rude. She says, it's polite to bring something of value that others can enjoy, Cleese says. A couple of beers won't go far. Yeah, don't just bring enough for yourself if it's a potluck type of a thing. Showing up with just a bag of chips is also rude when others are bringing full dishes. I can agree to this one. The next one is not offering to pay for gas when someone gives you a ride. I have a story about this one. I worked at a place and became friends with a girl who worked there. And she wasn't good, with her money. I wasn't good with my money then either. But I would pick her up every day. It was out of my way. Take her to work and take her home. And I did this several times a week for months. And it was beneficial because at the time they only had one car. Never, ever, ever did she offer to pay anything, to take me to lunch, to pay for gas, to nothing, never, ever. And I did not ask because that was my friend and that's what I did. I did not expect her to do that. However, if it were reversed, I would have volunteered that. The reason it makes me upset later is because I was taken advantage of. This was a friend that ended up stabbing me in the back, wasn't really a friend, and really it broke my heart. And lesson learned there, I guess, but when you try to do good for people and you don't expect anything out of it, that's okay. But in the end, I did get burned. But yeah, not offering to pay for gas when somebody is going out of their way and to take you someplace that you have asked them to, definitely rude. She says, especially on longer trips, it's rude to not pay for gas when someone else is driving. For shorter trips, it can be also rude to not offer if it becomes a habit, which obviously that one was a habit. Someone who asks for a ride all the time but never offers you any money for gas is rude. Okay, yes, this person was rude, bottom line. The last one, I'm not so sure about. Let me know what you think. Writing dollar amounts in a thank you note. So let me read what she says. When writing a thank you note for a donation or perhaps a graduation gift, do not write, "Thank you for the $100." Said Joy Weaver, a certified protocol and etiquette expert. Simply say, "Thank you for the generous gift." I do like "thank you for the generous gift." I just like that better. I don't personally like writing "thank you for the money" in a card. I don't know. I like generous gift. I think that sounds better. But why is it rude to specify the dollar amount? You guys are awesome about clarifying things for me and opening my mind up. I say this because I ask and I'm thinking, you make me look at things from another point of view. So if you could tell me I get it. It's not pretty, but what is rude about it? Let me know. Please open my eyes to that one. If you enjoyed this article and Money Article Mondays, make sure you give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you back for more videos.